The text came on a Tuesday. I was parked outside my daughter's daycare. Leaves were blowing across the lot. My phone buzzed, and I looked down, expecting something ordinary. It was not ordinary. Leaving for Lisbon with Renee. Moved savings to my account. Good luck with the mortgage. I read it 3 times. I did not move. I did not cry. I just sat there with the engine running and the photo of my grandmother in the sun visor above me. 9 years. Gone in 1 sentence. And he sent it from his phone like a grocery list. He did not just leave. He planned it. He prepared it. And then he handed me the bill. If you have ever given everything to someone and watched them treat it like nothing, you already know how this sits in your chest. Subscribe. This story has one of the most satisfying endings I have ever told. I do not want you to miss a single minute of it. My name is Nora. I am 37 years old, and I lay custom tile for a living. I design mosaics for kitchen floors and restaurant walls and garden courtyards. I mix grout in the back of my truck, and I know every hardware supplier in Asheville by first name. My husband Daniel was a regional sales director for a hospitality brand. He wore good shoes and knew how to work a room. When we met, he had a way of making you feel like you were the only person he was paying attention to. We had a daughter named June. She was 5. She collected paper turkeys and asked for pasta on Friday nights. We had been married for 9 years. Our savings account held $14,500. That was every extra dollar from every tile job I finished after hours, every vacation we skipped, every bonus Daniel swore he was going to put toward the house. The mortgage was $2,200 a month. When I got that text, I had $412 in checking and 5 days until it was due. I walked into that daycare, and I knelt down, and I smiled at my daughter. She held up a paper turkey. "Mommy, is Daddy doing pasta night?" "Daddy's traveling," I said. "We're getting grilled cheese." She cheered. She had no idea. My hands did not stop shaking until she fell asleep that night. Here is what nobody knew about Daniel Voss in late October. 3 weeks before that text, he had walked into his office downtown and submitted his resignation. Quietly. No drama. His last day was a Friday. I drove past that building every single morning on the way to job sites. 4 months before that text, he had written a card to his mother Patrice in Charlotte. I found it later in a filing box under old tax returns. His own handwriting. "Mom, thank you for the Lisbon deposit. Renee and I are so excited. None of this happens without you." 4 months ago, the same week he told me he was getting a performance bonus. And somewhere in a folder on his cloud storage, there was a document labeled simply Plan. What nobody in that room knew was that Daniel had not acted alone, and he had not acted fast. He had been preparing this for the better part of a year. The bank call came after June was asleep. I sat at the kitchen table and dialed the number, and the representative was very polite and completely useless. "Joint accounts give both parties full access," she said. "There is nothing we can do." $14,500. Gone. $412 left. Mortgage in 5 days. Then Patrice called. Her voice was cold before I even said hello. "What did you say to Daniel? He told me you threatened to keep June from him unless he paid you." I told her the truth. "He took our savings. He is moving to Portugal with another woman." "You have always been difficult," she said. "I have seen the messages." I tried to respond. She did not let me finish. The line went dead, and I stood in my kitchen holding my phone, and there was nothing else to say. That night, I sat on the bathroom floor for a long time. I thought about the first time I saw Renee's name on his phone and told myself it was nothing. I thought about the late nights he explained away and the receipts I did not ask about. I thought about whether I had been too focused on my work, too tired, too distracted. I stayed on that floor until the feeling passed. Then I got up. A certified letter arrived the next afternoon. Daniel had filed for divorce 9 days ago, Lisbon address. He had relinquished all parental rights to June. His attorney's letter said I had ample marital assets to support myself and our child. I read that line twice. Then I went through every drawer in his home office. People always say just cut them off and move on. But what do you do when cutting them off means watching them take your daughter to another country? What would you have done? I am genuinely asking. I found the birthday card first. Then I photographed it and drove to see Beverly. She was a family law attorney and she did not flinch at anything I put on her desk. What he did with a joint account is technically legal, she said, but judges remember it. We file for emergency support and freeze what is left. I said, okay. I cannot remember driving home after that. My parents called from Knoxville that evening. My mother did not ask questions. We are wiring rent by tomorrow morning. You are not doing this alone. That was the first time I cried since the parking lot. The next day, I opened Daniel's old laptop looking for a client contract he owed me. I found a draft email instead. Never sent. Resume attached. New position at Meridian Group in Lisbon. Start date 2 days after his text. I sent it to Beverly. Then I tried his cloud storage. His password was June's birthday. I opened a folder labeled Plan and I closed the laptop. I made tea. I did not drink it. I sat at the table for 20 minutes and let it settle. Then I opened the laptop again. What was inside was a written custody document. Daniel and Patrice had planned to use my postpartum anxiety from 5 years ago, therapy records, my worst months. They were going to use all of it to take June to Portugal. Patrice's own words to her son. Once you are settled, her history gives us everything we need. There was also a Cayman Islands account, $45,000. I photographed every single page. They had no idea what was coming. The call from Renee came while I was unloading tile from my truck outside a job in West Asheville. Unknown number. Her voice was flat. He has been hiding money from me too, she said. Liechtenstein, over $200,000. He just booked a flight back to Asheville. She wanted immunity, documentation in exchange. Beverly drafted the agreement. By that evening, Renee had sent bank statements and a sworn statement covering every detail of the plan. The restraining order came through hours before Daniel's flight landed. Airport security met him at the gate. He called me from the security office. His voice was shaking. I came back to fix this. I will see you in court, I said. Then I hung up. The hearing was not loud. That surprised me. Beverly laid out the case without raising her voice once. The text, the drained savings, the Lisbon job with its start date, the Cayman account, the Liechtenstein account, Renee's sworn statement, and then the custody document. The judge read Patrice's message aloud. Once you are settled, her history gives us everything we need. The courtroom was very quiet. I have heard enough, the judge said. Daniel's accounts were frozen. I received full temporary custody of June. Daniel was restricted to supervised visitation only. I thought it was over. Then Meridian Group called. A woman from HR in Lisbon said they had received an email from my address. It contained my legal documents and accusations about Daniel. He had been terminated. I had sent nothing. Patrice had visited the week before. She brought food and helped with June and moved through my house like she belonged there. I had let her. I had been grateful. I forwarded the email to Daniel with one line. Your mother had access when she was here. Check the metadata. He called back an hour later. He sent me a text chain between him and Patrice going back months. She had been making moves he had not approved and did not know about, including this one. He had not known the full shape of what she was doing. That did not change what happened next. Beverly filed identity fraud charges against Patrice. Her name appeared in the public court filing. Her Charlotte Garden Club read it. Her reputation, built across decades, began to come apart. The judge ordered a forensic accountant. Every account surfaced, every transfer, civil penalties for both of them. The numbers were larger than Daniel had told Renee. With the recovered funds, I bought a small house in Asheville's River Arts District. I converted the garage into my tile studio. June pressed her handprints into the mosaic on the front step. They are still there. Daniel used his supervised visits twice in 6 months. Then he stopped. He just stopped. One night, I was tucking June in and she looked up at me and asked, "Does Daddy think about us?" I smoothed her hair back. "I think he does, in his own way." She nodded like that was enough information and closed her eyes. I sat on the edge of her bed in the dark for a while after that. I was not waiting for anything. That was the part that surprised me most. Here is the thing nobody tells you. You do not need the other person to admit what they did. You do not need them to understand the damage. You just need to stop building your life around the space they left. The mortgage got paid. June's handprints are on the front step. That is what remains. Tell me something. If this had been you, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have given them one more chance? Drop it in the comments. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story right now, send it to them. They will know why. If this story gave you that feeling, that specific satisfaction of watching the truth finally land, subscribe, because I have more. Stories about people who were written off and counted out, who then made sure that was the last mistake anyone made. See you in the next one.